This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of February 22nd, 2021. We've just come off the first stress test of the Saturn-Uranus square, which peaked last Wednesday, and I invite you to take the failure of the power grid in Texas as a metaphor and see what in your life reflects that. Now, it isn't necessarily that something collapsed in your life. Somehow your attention has been riveted toward structures, networks, grids, energy sources, the way you handle resources, the way you interact with other people. Something got tested, and now for the rest of the year, we're going to be figuring out what to do about it. This intense influence is still going to be rolling around with us this week because the sun and then the full moon in Virgo are both in an opportunity aspect or a sextile to change agent Uranus. So we're going to be wrapping our minds and our hearts, our rational sides and our emotions around what's been shaken up and what other ways are available to us to go about things. All the game pieces are on the board. There isn't anything new, big, that's going to be introduced for any time soon. What we're dealing with is already right in front of us. What you're dealing with is already right in front of you. And we're going to get several months of just floating along, trundling along, figuring out what we're going to do with it all. And there is a big opportunity inherent in this to remake a lot of things. That is one benefit of the Uranian blast that each of us has received in at least one area of your life. Again, look at the grid failure in Texas as your metaphor. It can't keep working the way it is. There must be change. There's an opportunity there to remake it. What opportunity do you have this week, and you may have multiple ones, to shake some things up, to change some stories, to change some structures or how you're going about things? Mercury is now direct. The further we get into the week, the more he will be moving forward, the more we will feel information and travel log jams beginning to open up. On a physical level, quite literally, as temperatures and the weather, perhaps only briefly, who knows, ease up and allow people to go out, allow supplies to be delivered, allow mail to be delivered, encourage us to start looking ahead, looking forward. When the week starts, we have only one body in Pisces. On the 24th, Venus also enters that sign, and our social interactions, our desires, the way we treat each other moves much more into a gentle, kind, compassionate, and maybe escapist, off in the clouds approach to life. As usual, the way you look at things has a big impact on what you experience, and you can choose to experience a kinder, softer world. And again, what has happened with the power failures in Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana models possible behavior. Last week raised big issues of responsibility, of who is responsible, of who is taking responsibility. It's easy to look for targets to blame. Look instead for signs of hope, for instances of humanity, for people looking out for each other, for people banding together to make sure other people were okay. I will give you a few. As he did during the last hurricane, the owner of a large discount furniture store in Houston, goes by Mattress Mac, opened his doors and allowed people to come in and stay on the display furniture. Beto O'Rourke, who ran for Senate against Ted Cruz and came very close to unseating him, mobilized networks of people to check on the elderly and deliver food to them. I read a story, which of course could be made up, but it fits this company's behavior, about a food chain named HEB, which are the initials of the man who founded it. And again, I can't substantiate this, but it fits past behavior. Someone posted on social media that she was in a jam-packed store when the power went out, and employees shepherded all the customers to the front of the store, and people were told to simply go home and take the groceries that they had because the store did not have the ability to process the payments. And in my own personal experience, neighbors on all sides of my 91-year-old mother not only repeatedly checked on her, but brought her hot soup and found someone on the block who had a tool necessary to shut the water off in her kitchen after the pipes froze and then started flooding. These are all examples of acts of kindness, of acts of community, of networks coming together in a positive way, of people doing what they can for the people around them. These are living examples of what Fred Rogers talked about after the horror of 9/11, when he said to look for the helpers. There are always helpers. By the weekend, with the Sun and Venus both in Pisces, it's going to be a helper extravaganza, with goodness and kindness and compassion flowing into all those Aquarian neighborhoods and communities and networks, which, as we have been learning, can spring up across technology. By the weekend, we will be looking very much at everything in terms of, does it work? How can this be improved? Looking at boundaries, looking paradoxically at what really is our responsibility, drawing our little magic circles and deciding what's within it and what's outside it. Virgo's knack for pointing out what is wrong means that there will be very loud voices, very critical voices in the den, and you get to decide, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? You also get to define what's your problem? What actually is your responsibility? What's your part to clean up? And just as importantly, where's your focus? Is your focus on what happened, or is your focus on what are you going to do about it? And my forecast for the Virgo full moon will be up early in the week at my site, empowermentunlimited.net. In the meantime, homing thought of the week. Don't just look for the helpers. How can I be a helper? Song of the week, Colors by the Black Pumas. And the image of the week is the Healthy Choices label on a frozen entree. For more on this, visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited in the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who are supporting my work there. I post on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian Channel. Talk to you next week.